I left the church for about a year.
What clicked that actually changed who you are?
I praise God if there's forgiveness for me. I don't think there is, but forgive me. I don't want to go back to the mediocre Christian life that I was living. And the only country that kept coming to my mind was Australia.
Hey, we're so glad you're here.
We talk about faith, no filter. Welcome to Filthy Hope. Reverend Sister.
Reverend Brother.
Welcome back to Filthy Hope. If you haven't tuned in to Filthy Hope before, this is Filthy Hope, our podcast where we
talk about faith with no filter.
We do. Questions and conversations that often aren't had in the church that deal with the messiness of life and how you still find hope and God in the presence of stuff that just seems to be godless.
A radical conversation about just two people coming together. But the interesting thing today is we've got a special guest.
We do, Reverend Brother Moderator-Elect.
Oh my God, that sounds way too long. Way too long.
So today we got Pablo Nunez, who
Nunez
is Moderator-Elect of the Synod of New South Wales and Australian Capital Territory in the Uniting Church in Australia. There's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. I can't wait to have that on
in
my
other
card.
words,
Yes, brother.
Pablo,
Yeah.
you're going to be a leader in the church in 2027. That's what Moderator-Elect means.
That's right. That's right. I hope I'm already a leader in some other ways,
Yeah,
but that's when the heavy
official
title
leader.
falls on us.
So Pablo's Moderator-Elect, I'm Moderator-Reject, because Pablo was actually on a discernment
Committee,
panel for the last moderator,
That's right.
which I was a candidate and wisely chose. Well, we all discerned that actually there were some better people that would be more suited at that present time, because it's not about the best person.
Definitely not.
That's the right person for the right time
For the gig.
in God's eyes.
Yeah, 100%.
But anyway,
Great experience for you though, John.
it was
It
really
led you to
helpful.
Baulkham Hills Uniting Church in the end.
It led me, and that led
And
me
that's
here.
I know,
into
look.
podcasting
Yeah,
land.
God's got it all sorted.
Everything collides at
God
Filthy
works
Hope.
together for good for everyone who believes and loves Him. That's
Yeah.
I think in the
good.
scripture.
Amen.
Mr. Pablo. Who is Pablo?
Ooh, that's a wonderful question that you are invited to think when you start social media and everything. Describe who you are. I love to say that I'm a son first. My dad, Gaston, already passed away, but just talked to mom this morning. So I'm definitely a son of Gaston and Sonia, who shaped me in so many ways. A sibling to Daniela, my older sister, and Gaston Jr., Mariana and Alice, my sisters. I'm married with Fernanda, 27 years.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
That shapes me every single day, if I want it or not. I'm a dad to Isabella, who is 18 going 35.
Yep.
And Santiago, 12, is staying 12 for as long as he can.
Yeah.
And I'm a minister in the Uniting Church.
Minister of the Word.
Minister of the Word.
So that means you're ordained as opposed to all the other ministers out there.
All the others who didn't survive the camp, the process.
Well, and just who work in congregations.
Works in congregations.
Who aren't paid necessarily, or
definitely.
are paid but don't have a lifetime pathway.
And
ministry.
I'm very grateful that the Uniting Church took a chance on me, and this journey has been life-changing, life-altering in many ways. I was a missionary for 22 years before coming to the Uniting Church.
What does that mean?
I was working with a Christian organization who does missionary work all over the world, Youth with a Mission. I started in Brazil when I was 20, came to Australia through YWAM in 2000, and then definitely in 2003. And that gave me a perspective of the world that is very unique, very different, because my my sense of ministry and calling was shaped by seeing the needs of the whole world, in a sense.
Okay, cool.
And becoming a minister, especially if you are in a congregational placement.
Ordained minister.
An ordained. I was a ministry of pastor before.
Okay. And before that, you were a minister in mission.
In mission, I was. You have to focus on one community, on one group of people, on this region. And those exercises are having a wide lens to see the world, but also being able to focus in one community and put your heart and your passion and your work in that one community is something that I deeply appreciate. Cool. And I think it's going to help me once I become a moderator to have the two
100%.
perspectives.
And Pablo, you've got this fantastic accent.
Thank you.
You're from Uruguay.
Uruguay, South America, a small country, 3.5 million people. Between the giants that are Argentina and Brazil and the Atlantic Ocean. People that is described as fierce and protective, very faithful, very loyal. The least religious people in all of the Americas. We have a vast majority of non-believers in Uruguay. So when people say, in Australia, we are less and less, I go, that feels like home.
Yes. That's extraordinary.
So you're in Uruguay or
Yes.
Uruguay, however you want to say it. Australian would say Uruguay.
Uruguay.
But Uruguay. The least religious country.
Yeah.
Were you least religious?
Oh,
when you were
definitely.
growing up?
My family didn't have any religious affiliation. I never went to church until I was 12 years old, I believe.
And did somebody make you?
Yeah, sort of inspired me.
Inspired.
My older sister had become a Christian when she was 12 and I was 9 years old. I lost my favorite toy at the time, which was my sister. She stopped chasing after me and trying to hurt me and having these silly arguments and became all forgiving and boring and understanding.
Because she was like a teenage.
She was a teenager
mean
growing
girl.
up.
Mean girl.
I made her mean.
Mean girl.
I made her mean. She reacted very well to my provocations. But I saw the change in her life.
Wow.
And I saw the change in her community, a group of young teenagers that started showing up and were fantastic in their friendship, loyalty, searching for the meaning of life, talking about things that other teenagers were definitely not looking into. Terrible taste for music, I have to say that. Like the music they were listening, absolutely
like
terrible.
Jesus music.
Oh my goodness, in the 80s. When you're listening to Ramones or Pink Floyd and they go, here, listen to Petra. Okay, a little bit of a gap, but their lives definitely impacted mine. And when I was 12, I went to church for the first time. And that's when I heard the gospel for the first time. I heard the concept of grace for the first time. And that night, December 86, is when I said, God, come into my life for the first time.
Far out.
Yeah.
What did your mum and dad think of that?
My dad wasn't pleased at all. At all. Gaston not happy.
Yeah.
Family comes from sort of Christian, Jewish background, but non-religious, so no expectations about going to church. Yeah. My sister, fantastic. It's a good place, great friends.
Good for her.
Social, good for her. My son, growing up in a church, going to these kind of things. So actually the first 3 years of my life as a Christian was facing that resistance.
Interesting.
Not persecution, but resistance from my dad, especially my mom sometimes. But mom is a Latina mom, so sometimes she's like, I don't like this, but you're my son, so I'm going to fight for you anyway. I think they saw over time the good changes in my life, or at least saw that something good was happening. And mom is a Christian today. Dad passed away as a Christian. So their lives were impacted in many ways. And I'm very, very glad that that's the journey that we had together as family.
Yeah, that's amazing. So these incredible young teenagers are in your life, boys and girls?
Boys and girls, and still today.
And are you looking to those young mentors really in your life that are doing...
Influencers.
Yeah, they are influencers, that's right. And thinking they're cool, I want to copy how they're being.
It was almost like these guys are living in a way that they don't care about what other people think of them.
Wow. Yeah.
That was to me the most impactful thing. I was very early on into punk music and punk culture. and the whole thing about you're rebellious against
Angry,
society,
pissed
angry.
off. Yep.
And these guys
But
actually
you've got to do it like everyone else.
exactly, exactly. But these guys don't care.
No.
They have a faith. They believe. They're not
Yeah.
afraid of telling
Yeah.
people what they believe on.
Yeah.
We will literally finish some services, collect a bunch of flyers, and go on the streets telling people, "Hey, have you heard about Jesus? Or can we talk about this?" And I go like, who does that?
Yeah, that's
Who
right.
does that when you are 13, 14, 15 years old?
Extraordinary, right? Brave.
Yeah, brave,
That takes
brave,
such-
courageous. To me, and it's something that marked the rest of my life, is faith is either real
Yeah.
or it's beautiful, wonderful, useless truth. If it's not practical, not interested. And these guys were actually quite practical. If this is what it means to follow Jesus,
Yeah.
I want other people to know Jesus as well.
Yeah.
So the sharing, the communicating, the telling people in their face, like, no, I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I don't think this is right, because that's not who I am. Very courageous.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
Amen.
talked about hearing about grace,
Yeah.
and I guess knowing about Jesus. What clicked from knowing about these things to actually an experience that actually changed who you are? Because there's one thing to go, those
Yeah.
people are cool, I'll hang out with them.
Yep.
Because I'm curious to actually then
Yeah.
I've got
I
a
wanna
flyer in
commit.
my hand and I want to tell people
wanna
about
tell
the
people.
same things.
I can say that for the first season, it was definitely about watching and copying and doing
Yes.
things. What really changed in me, when I was 16 years old, I left the church for about a year.
Yeah.
My sister had a really bad experience with organized religion, the organization, some people, and I was already rebellious in my tendencies. So to me, it was natural to say, I don't want to do this anymore. How far can I go away from this to prove my point? And I did for about a year everything that I thought was wrong, like getting into relationships, experimenting with drugs. Was the time that movie The Doors came. So suddenly it was cool, or among especially nerds, to try to find the meaning of life in psychedelics and other things. And I left all of that. Like, I want to try this.
How old were you, Pablo?
16.
16, 17.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
17 when I came back. And I came back because I saw people dying, a car accident, one of my best friends, another person that I knew, overdosing, seeing my relationships all broken
Yes.
because of the life that I was living. The insistence of my best friend of showing up constantly to remind me that I was loved.
Wow.
Just stay away from me. Like, what are you doing? And he kept showing up until one day I realized this is killing me in more ways than one.
Yeah.
And I need to go back to God. I didn't miss the church.
No.
I didn't miss religion, but I deeply missed the presence, the knowing that God was with me. And he never left. It was I that was doing all this stupid stuff. And the moment that I turned back, my prayer was in the floor of the kitchen of my house, starving. I had been in a band for like 3 days without any food, unable to eat because of all the things in my system. And I pray, say, God, if there's forgiveness for me, I don't think there is, but if there is forgiveness for me, forgive me. But I don't want to go back to the mediocre Christian life that I was living, pretending, the coming, the doing the things without meaning. Take my life and do something great out of it. And if I knew God was paying attention to that particular prayer, I would probably have added a few things.
Right. Yeah.
What would have you added,
And $1
brother?
million or two. If I want to be a missionary, it will be great. But yeah, and then I called my best friend. He's from my Italian family, so quite emotional. And I told him on the phone, remember the phones?
Yes.
And saying, hey, I need help. And suddenly he
Turned
hung up.
up.
And I go, well, like months bothering me. And now that I say I need help, he doesn't want to talk.
Oh.
He jumped on the car and drove. So he didn't have
Yeah.
time to explain to me,
No,
I'm going to
I'm on
jump
my
in the
way.
car and I'm going to pick you up. He
Yeah.
just showed up, took me. And his dad, whose name is Jesus,
That's just,
and him helped me to recover, to come back to, until the point that I said one day, I think I really want to go to church, and showing up in church and realizing I'm not here for the music. I'm not here for the people. I'm here because there's a community, a message, a presence that I deeply need. And that was the moment that grace became real to me.
Wow.
Right.
The forgiveness, the new beginning, people responding with grace.
And if you don't know what grace is, the Christian concept is that it's goodness that is undeserved.
Undeserved gift.
It is just an offering for our own benefit that we haven't earned, and it's regardless of whether we deserve it or not.
That's right.
The sense that God works good in our lives.
I grew up in a Catholic sort of influenced community. The only church that we heard about was the Catholic Church. And the whole message at that time, and I'm talking about Australia, I'm talking about Latin Catholic experience, it was a lot about working hard, avoiding sin, trying to be a saint, feeling bad for anything good that happened into your life.
Following the rules.
Follow the rules. Go beyond. So see, it maybe you make it into the good graces of God.
Wow.
And suddenly finding out that love is a gift, that God's life is a gift, that God's love is with me regardless of my attitudes, and suddenly realizing I need this in my life more than I need air, more than I need anything. I want that love. I want that presence. And it absolutely changed the way I saw the church as well, because now I'm not more the judgmental teen going, all of these people are hypocrites and doing wrong things. So I was a freaking hypocrite. I was living something that was a lie. And I found forgiveness. So how can I look at them in any other way now?
And you said you didn't want faith and religion in the pre-packaged version that church often offers. Tell us how then that led you to this missionary work that you said that you ended up in Australia.
Yeah, that's a crazy trip.
Why?
I went to a camp.
Why from a camp? I'm just thinking you're in a country that you said is the least religious. You'd think you'd need missionaries there. How did you end up in Australia?
Well, I went to a camp because my church every month of January sent all the teens in a package. Go to a camp.
You're still 17? 16, 17.
Go to a camp.
Yeah.
Like, go. Give us 1 month break from you. And in that camp was a missionary camp run by missionaries. And there was a day that they asked us to pray and ask God for a country that we were supposed to pray for the rest of the month.
Right.
And I came from a church that was highly missionary. So I was expecting any African country, any Asian country. Yeah. In South America, we had Cuba. We have countries that definitely needed the gospel. Uruguay, like I said, save my own country. And I closed my eyes and I said, God, okay, this guy who I didn't like, the missionary running the program, and he didn't like me. It was a mutual feeling. Give me a country so I can say I'm going to pray for this country and get done with. And the only country that kept coming to my mind was Australia. Wow. I go, God, I would love to live, maybe visit. Yeah, kangaroos, weird things. No. A country for missions, God, like correcting God, and it was just Australia. And I go, and I was very honest, like these moments of radical honesty with God. I'm going to go back to that circle of teenagers. All of them will say Angola, China. It was a time that the Russia had become Russia again. The URSS was broken. So any country from the Iron Curtain, everything will be okay. If I say Australia, I'm going to get in trouble. Nothing. So I went back to the circle, sit next to my best friend, and every single little Christian teenager is given the right spiritual answer.
Yeah.
Angola, South Africa, Nigeria, China, India, and everybody claps, and the missionaries are jumping. Oh, we have a project for that country.
Joy.
We have a country. And Adelaide comes to me, and I go, Australia? And the guy running says, what did you say? Australia. Pablo, can you please say it? And I go, here we go. Australia. My best friend hits me in the back, laughing his head off. Of course, Australia, Jamaica, Hawaii, all these hard places, somebody has to go. Now, I cannot breathe. He hit me in the back. I'm trying to catch my air. I'm crying. The guy's looking at me like, you just destroyed my beautiful spiritual atmosphere. So I'm in trouble. But that thing, I'm in trouble. I better pray for this country now. So I went and found some books with missionary information, and I'm praying for Australia. And at the end of that camp, I had this sense, this whisper, that I was going to come to this country as a missionary one day. Right. Missionary wasn't on my plans at all. So
how did you connect then with youth with a mission?
When I was 20, I was living in the capital of my country independently. I was supporting myself, doing economics at university. And I just felt this desperate sense that my life needed a change, that I was going in this very predictable path. My boss, the owner of the hotel, was a senator in my country.
Right.
And it would be like, okay, this is a pathway. I finished university, got a job with government, got a job with the contacts, easy life.
See yourself climbing the ladder.
So much better than when I came from.
And God says, get back to punking it up.
And then I go and I have this terrible, terrible idea of paying attention to a sermon that he spoke about the meaning of life and what God wants to do with us. 2:00 in the morning, I open my Bible, Isaiah 42. I'm reading that passage and I realize this is a calling into my life as well.
Wow.
What did it say?
He's talking about the Messiah, about that he's not going to stop working until he sees justice in the world, that God is about to announce new things. And I go, that's what I want to do in my life. I want to announce this sense of God's love and justice and see change in the community. And then I realized that means I need to change things. So the next day I talked to my boss, told him that I was thinking about leaving and doing a 6-month training in Brazil. And he goes, oh, well, that's okay. I was actually going to offer you a job in Parliament House with me in my office, but that's perfect timing. So I go, okay, I can do that training, have that experience and come back. Safety net right there. I went to do the training and I couldn't reconcile my former life with what I saw, what I wanted to do again, and this deconstruction of what I thought life was going to be with the life that God was presenting before me.
Yes.
And that was it, 20 years old, hooked for life in that sense. 2 years later, I met my wife who had the same spirit. Like when we talk about what we want for life, none of us mention a white house, the white fence, the little picture. She says, I want to know God and I want to follow God. That's it. It was no romantic feeling put together. It was like, wow, this woman is amazing.
Yeah,
her faith is real.
Yeah.
And we got married and we were in mission together for 20 years after that.
Wow. Still are.
We still are in so many ways.
It's been a massive joint operation with her.
Yeah. And I'm coming from Uruguay. She's Brazilian, so different cultures, different languages, different outlooks at life. Like my family is quite formal in so many things. Like we sit around the Christmas table, everybody has a place, the menu has been organized, the budget has been presented, everybody has taken a showers and looking great. Fernanda's family joins 22nd of December, they're all together and they don't say goodbye until the 2nd, 3rd of January. It's an ongoing party. You don't know what time is here or there, lunch, dinner, everything is a mix. And I love it as well. Wow. It just changes you.
Very different.
Very different. But she is a warrior. She's not a support to me because that sounds terrible. She's a partner. Yeah. She inspires and challenges more than inspired, but still that's how I get my ass kicked in a decent
So was it
way.
easy to get to Australia?
No. Australia is a very difficult country to get visas to if you know about the system, especially religious visas, especially if you don't have a salary coming into the country and you need to prove to the government that you have enough support to live in this country. But it was a long journey, but a journey that taught us faith, the value of our calling, the price we were paying to be here, to me said, well, if I'm going to go through all of this, I want it to be meaningful. Right. I don't want to come at the end and say, oh, we suffered for all these many years and I have no fruit to tell people about what happened. And when we became citizens, that was changing my mindset. Okay, now if I'm a citizen of this country, what does it mean to serve God as an Australian in this country? And that was part of the switch from a missionary ministry to an ordained ministry.
Right. So just because we talked about your story a bit, talk about that becoming an Australian citizen, because it was
a shit fight.
Oh, it is.
It was almost like
wasn't going to happen.
You would have gone to America, and that would have been nice and easy. And
or Canada.
At that time.
You were kind of
we had to renew our visas almost every year at the beginning, and it's hard to explain to people that didn't have that experience that when you have a 1-year visa, At the same time that you're celebrating, they gave me 1 year. There's a countdown in your mind that goes, actually, no, 364 days. Counting down every single day to reapplying. And it's not cheap and it's not easy.
Yeah. And you have to get out of the country sometimes.
And we were very happy when we passed to the next sort of level that was, you can apply staying in Australia. And then suddenly the visa came with a condition, you have to leave Australia to renew it. That was a religious working visa for 2 years. So we have to leave in 2009 at the beginning of the year. Isabella, my daughter, is 1 year old. It's a baby. We had this news in 21 days. Like you have 21 days to leave the country and you need to reapply.
And can I ask you, do you reapply from your homeland?
Yes, you have to go to your homeland. Or in our case, because you were Uruguayan and Brazilian, either of those countries. So we went back to Brazil. My father had a heart operation, open heart surgery at that time. Bella took her first steps in the apartment of my parents in Uruguay while he was doing recovery. And we are applying and waiting for news. And then the system changes.
System changes.
The system changes. And you have to restart the process.
Right.
And we need this new document. You need to restart the process. And now the documents you had at the beginning have expired. You need to provide new ones.
Right.
And kept going and going and going. When October came, we had leave for 10 months, switching from family to family, independent living for about 3 months, serving my church, but with a countdown as well. How long can we stay? Always with this. We're living in July. Actually, no. We're living in August. Actually, no. We're living in October. And October came and realized this is not going anywhere. I'm sitting in the kitchen of our little apartment that we had rented for 3 months, and their rental was coming to an end. And looking at my daughter and say, she's going to turn 2 very soon. She doesn't have a home. She's been traveling, but how can we live like this?
Yeah.
And it's very stressful.
And asking God, why? Because you don't have a problem with the Australian Migration Department. I'm pretty sure you have control over that as well. So what am I not getting? Why am I not learning? What do you want to say to me that I haven't paid attention yet to that? But to silence all these other voices that says, be a responsible father, get a job, stay home. My pastor saying, stay and work with us.
Wow.
Your daughter will look fantastic in the school uniform. That was very emotional.
Lured to stay.
Fernanda's family saying, we'll start a business. You guys can stay. You will be close. And that call of family, we want to be close to you. My parents at that moment had only one granddaughter. That was Isabella. She's going to grow up close to us.
So what was missing? What was the answer that was missing? Were missing?
I was so committed to the ministry that we were doing before that I wasn't paying attention to the changes in society around me, the things that needed to change.
So in Australia, you were in YWAM, and it was in a nice, comfortable space.
Comfortable space, Adelaide Hills, absolutely beautiful. Sending teams overseas. We're going to do missions there and come back, and do missions there and come back.
So Pablo, for people, you were like a boss, a regional boss.
I was a state leader for Youth with a Mission in South Australia. So it was, okay, let's do a training program, 3 months, 2 months overseas doing missions.
And that's what you needed to come back to.
And I needed to realize.
You were going to go back to being that leader in South Australia.
That was waiting.
But the visas wasn't working.
Visas wasn't working.
You think that there's something
is missing.
Something's missing.
And what God told us at that time was, I want to change everything that you do. Are you open to that?
Punk it up again.
Punk it up again. Like suddenly it's become a learner again. It's not doing the old thing again. It's telling people the vision is going to change. What vision? I have no idea, but the vision is going to change.
Shit, you sound like a biblical character, brother.
Yeah, and people saying, let's go. Let's do it. Go. These guys are crazier than me. And to us we returned to South Australia after an adventure of getting the papers,
like literally
traveling back and forth, last minutes, like we need 3 more police clearances. You have 24 hours to provide that, and running back.
Police never work that fast.
Oh my goodness. In South America, unless you're paying bribes, South America, but like having that with little money in the pocket for tickets to things, having people speaking faith into our lives, helping us to reorganize our thinking, responding not to the circumstances, but what God was saying to us. And suddenly miracle after miracle after miracle coming, so we can finally come back to this country.
Literally at the last minute.
Everything
we arrived through.
Yeah, we arrived in Australia after a week in which we saw documents being approved, a visa being approved against the tide.
And anyone knows
Passports
you
arriving.
don't get it approved.
No.
All this stuff doesn't happen in
Everything
1
is
week,
gone.
but it did.
It did.
And then you arrive in Australia.
After Christmas, which is who is working after Christmas?
No one works after Christmas.
After Christmas,
Like
getting a police clearance from Canberra by mail, by computer, by scanning, sending, and people
Incredible.
doing the triangulation between us, and arriving in Australia and God saying, all right, so time to get to work. So what do you mean, time to get to work? What was I doing all this time? But over the next few years, we started working with homeless in Australia. Homeless in Australia, I have plenty of those in South America.
Interesting.
But I have never seen them in Australia because I wasn't paying attention. We partnered with the Salvos, and suddenly we had a program in Adelaide for more than 200 homeless people every Saturday, and families and kids. And all that happened because vision changed. So we moved the base from the Adelaide Hills to the northern suburbs of Adelaide. It's like moving from a fancy place to suddenly you are in this very needy place that has incredible social struggles. And we switched places with Teen Challenge. Teen Challenge went to live in the hills.
Did you say Teen Challenge?
Teen Challenge.
Wow.
They were doing recovery of kids with addiction
Yes.
in the worst possible place.
Yes.
I look from their building, I go, I can jump that wall and find drugs in that skate park in less than 3 minutes. And come to the hills, they stay in the hills, 5 kilometers away from the closest bus stop.
So back to where you...
Yes,
Back
at the
to the
beginning.
hills.
Back to the
Even though
hills.
from
And
the
we went
States.
to the city. We were in the middle of the most needy place in Adelaide, doing ministry every day. It was fantastic. But 2 years later, I'm praying, go, okay, God, everything you told me to do is done.
What's
what am I
next?
supposed to do now? What's next? And what next was it's time to become a minister. And I said, nah,
The ordained
22
call.
years doing this.
Come on,
being
I
a
already am
missionary,
one.
being a missionary in Wyoming is almost going against the religious establishment in so
interesting.
many ways. Nah, do you want to see something changing? You're changing from the inside. And I was part of Play for Uniting, so I did a period of discernment of POD, which I literally thought was payable on death.
Yeah.
That's
Great
insurance
band too.
or a band, one of those. And suddenly finding out, that's what I want to do. I'm an Australian citizen. I want to see Australia changing. I want to affect change in the community. I want to see communities change. So it's time to not settle down, but settle in a new reality.
You ended up in Ballina.
In Ballina, New South Wales.
8 years?
9 years.
9 years in Ballina. And then the
Never
church
applying
goes,
for the job.
Just when you think you're comfortable, you're going to end up being the state leader.
Again, another mistake. But I was praying in 2020 in the middle of that wonderful pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was invited to be part of that committee trying to find a new moderator. And somebody told me, we need people like you in the state leadership. And I laughed, literally go, yeah, sure, somebody like me. What, you need somebody from another culture to tick a box or something? I said, no, we need your ideas, we need your heart. And I go, well, nobody from the Far North Coast is in the standing committee. I'm going to put my name down. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? They say no. And I go, oh, well, I gave it a try. And I got elected. So I start being part of these meetings and I see the vision and I go, I want to be part of this. Like, if I want to change something, this is the place to be.
Wow.
But I was involved, I am involved with the Church Planting Commission. I'm involved with the Growth Fund. So I go, that's my part. Give ideas, connect with people, network, do a church planting in Ballina. That's where I'm supposed to be, right? And then suddenly this idea came through different people. Says, I think you could be a good moderator. I think the church needs somebody like you. And I go, guys, God it has a sense of humor, not that much sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like the church needs help, but not this kind of help. Let me be. But the more I talk to people that I deeply admire, the more that idea became, okay, maybe this is the time. Maybe that's what's the voice that is needed. And as usual, I said, I'm going to say yes. I trust the discernment of the church. If they discern that I should be a candidate, great. If they discern that I have to be the moderator, oh well. And I don't know if I trust the discernment of the church so much anymore. But when I gave my life to Jesus for real, that in the floor of my kitchen when I was 17, I said, "Take my life," and I didn't put any conditions.
And
so whatever God says, that's it.
Great conversation. So we're going to have another one in our next episode, and we'll unpack what moderating is. And
I'm looking forward to
and whether there is any
learn about it.
Hope for this church that you're now going to be a leader of. So, Ness, how would you sum up Pablo's story?
It's just an incredible story of listening to God and being tuned in to God, but then doubting God and making mistakes and fucking it up basically.
Very much so.
And then come running back to God and hearing God's voice and discerning that this is the path you need to go on.
And it's usually not what we think. It actually leads us in a different way.
I would say never, but very, very usual. The answer is different.
Yeah.
And what you learn about yourself in the process is almost as important as the work that you end up doing. Yeah. And finding out that God wants to have an adventure with us.
Big adventure.
He's a father. He's not a boss. He goes, okay, what can I teach you through this process?
Wow.
And he's roughed you up along the way. He's really taken you through very unsettling times.
Yeah.
So that you would lean into him, and you've done that, haven't you?
There's a phrase that I love. I don't admire this person particularly, the Che Guevara, the Argentinian revolutionary. Yeah. Google, you will see why I don't admire this person particularly. But he has a phrase that is amazing. We have to toughen up without losing our tenderness.
Awesome.
And I think that's exactly what I have learned.
That's filthy hope.
That is absolutely filthy hope.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Reverend Brother Moderator-Elect. And we're going to be back next episode with some more Pablo.
Yeah,
and
more faith with no filter.
Yeah. So
do it. Thank you, guys.
See you next time.
See you next time.
We're really glad you've joined us. You know, if you can do all that liking and subscribing, it just helps the algorithm, help other people find what we're talking about. So if you find it useful, do that clicky stuff. Thanks.